do 90 seconds apiece.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of this committee. Gun Owners of America fully supports this bill, and we request that the committee passes this bill. One of the key issues is not just with the city of Okeechobee, which I myself publicly spoke to the mayor and their city council, where they admitted that they passed the ordinance in mistake and at no point wanted to violate the Second Amendment, but they themselves didn't understand state statute. Going back to the pandemic, you had the city of West Palm Beach, the city of Riviera Beach, and the town of Palm Beach. They all passed declarations banning the sale and possession of the sale and marketing of firearms and ammunition during the COVID-19 pandemic, which was clearly a violation of the Second Amendment. It was clearly a violation of our civil liberties, especially when Americans, at their greatest hour of need and fear of looting, of crime, of loss of business, loss of revenue, were specifically targeted because of their Second Amendment rights. As Senator Goglia stated, this law originally comes because of Katrina. As we saw, you had municipalities in Louisiana and Mississippi violate the Second Amendment, confiscate the arms, prevent the sale of firearms and ammunition in Americans' greatest times of need. When seconds count, and I say this as a police officer, cops are minutes to an hour away, and in some cases, we just don't show up. So again, Gun Owners of America fully supports this bill. We want this bill passed, and again, we ask the ladies and gentlemen of this committee to please, with your unanimous support, pass this bill. Thank you.
Can I ask Mr. Valdes a question?
Yes, you can ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Valdes, for your comments. I'm just trying to understand during COVID, what was there, if you know, so I don't want to ask you a question you don't know the answer to, what was the justification that those city officials gave when they prohibited the purchase of firearms during the pandemic? And that didn't come automatically just because they declared a state of emergency for a pandemic. They took it further and they added an ordinance that said no gun sales allowed during that time. Is that correct, too? I know I have two questions in there.
That is correct. Those three municipalities basically did it because they wanted to crack down on the Second Amendment. You had their elected officials were clearly on the anti-gun side, and they wanted to use the statute to their ability to control and restrict Americans from exercising their inalienable God-given rights.
And a quick follow-up. You're saying their justification was they just wanted to violate people's rights. Okay, no, I understand. Thank you for your response, Mr. Valdes. I appreciate it.
Yes, as the saying says, you know, never let a crisis go to waste, and that's what some politicians do when it comes to our inalienable rights. Again, we ask that the committee passes this bill unanimously.
Next speaker is Eric Friday from Florida Carry. Go ahead, 90 seconds.
Thank you, Chair Martin. In addition, even after the incidents that you've already heard about in Okeechobee during the September hurricane, we had a second incident where local law enforcement in two different counties went to a national gun retailer in those two counties during the Helene hurricane and explained that while there was no declaration of emergency and they couldn't force them to do anything, they essentially pressured those dealerships into suspending the sale of firearms, citing to this law and using this law as a basis for the argument that we will declare an emergency if you don't work with us on this. This issue was addressed in regards to natural disasters in the case of Bateman v. Purdue in the Eastern District of North Carolina, and there the federal court said very clearly that the Second Amendment does extend and continue to exist even during states of emergency, whether from natural disasters or, in the case of this bill, riots and affrays. And so we thank Senator Ingoglia for bringing this bill. It is long past time for this law to be gone, and we ask for the members' favorable vote.
Thank you. I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll go to Senator Pizzo real quick. Who were the law enforcement officers that requested those retailers not sell firearms during Hurricane Helene?
It was two counties in Central Florida, and unfortunately I cannot go into who those were due to attorney-client privilege, but I was allowed to share the information that two counties in Central Florida.
Okay. Senator Pizzo, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. I have two quick questions. Is that open litigation right now, or has that case been disposed of?
The Bateman v. Purdue case?
Yeah.
It is closed. It was a final judgment out of the Eastern District of North Carolina. It was not appealed.
Okay. Is there any litigation pending as it relates to the two central Florida counties in question?
No, Senator, there is not.
Okay. Last fellow.
Go ahead.
If, as some businesses do, not gun-related, whether they're small eateries, dry cleaners, whatever, during a state of emergency, you're not suggesting that they be forced to stay open if a shop owner wants to close whatever businesses it is during a state of emergency. We still have some Miami Beach businesses back in the day during spring break that would close, saying it's just not worth You're shaking your head and smiling, so.
I'm sorry, Ed, through the chair.
If you have a question, you can answer.
Okay. Senator Pizzo, the reason I'm shaking my head and smiling is Florida Carry is absolutely a liberty-based organization. We believe in private property rights. We do believe in the right of business owners to make the right decisions for their businesses. And if you have a business owner feels that it's not appropriate time for them to have their store open, that's their business. We just don't, we want the government to stay out of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Jed Carroll, Gun Owners of America.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jed Carroll, representing Gun Owners of America. I 100% support this bill. This removes an unconstitutional prohibition on the sale, display, possession of guns and ammo at the very time when people need to be able to protect themselves, and I love a good repeal bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Logan Edge, speaking for. Looks like your email is gunrights.com or gunrights.org, but I don't have a organization that you're a part of.
Yes, Mr. Senator. I'm part of Florida Gun Rights. I'm the executive director. I just wanted to come speak in favor as well. You know, as Mr. Valdes said, you know, when seconds matter, you never know what can happen. And our Second Amendment rights are non-negotiable, and we really want this bill passed because, I mean, national disasters or state disasters or local disasters does not change our God-given inherent rights that are enshrined in our Constitution. So Florida Gun Rights just wants to come speak in favor of that. And thank you, senators, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having us.
Mr. Chair, quick question.
Go ahead, Senator Pizzo, you're recognized.
How do you feel about the fact that it's against the law to carry a firearm in this room?
I think it's wrong.
But you guys still obey and honor that?
I follow the law, Mr. Senator. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then Kelby Senor, waving in support from the National Rifle Association. Is there any debate?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.